bugger on it before you get the rod.
Yeah, because if you're gonna do a worksheet, you're gonna have to have a pen, you know what I'm saying? You know, or if you're gonna write up what it is that you did on a live work job, you're gonna have to have a pen. Okay, we're gonna jump into this thing. This is a basic knowledge test for automatic transmissions. We're gonna see how McBride did when he was taking them and all that, see what he learned.
See what I remember.
Yeah. And what do the hydraulic clutches and bands do? What do the hydraulic clutches and bands do? We're gonna go through this real quick, and then we're gonna back up and go through it with the answer, right? Write your answer down. Put your best answer down there. See what you think. We're gonna see where you are on this. This is a sort of a what did you know? Yeah, what do the hydraulic clutches and bands do? And it's not fair to Google it on your phone. Okay. Next question.
Hold on. Alright.
The transmission fluid pump is usually driven by what? A, the stator support, B, the transmission input shaft, C, the engine output shaft, or D, the torque converter hub or pump input shaft. Moving on. What happens to the pressure when fluid passes through a reduced opening? Say like this here would be like a line with a washer in it, which would be an orifice. So if you measured the pressure here as fluid was going this way, what would you see? Which one of these? Will pressure increase? Will it remain constant? Will it decrease? And this is kind of what an orifice would look like, you know, in the transmission. Some of those holes are smaller than others for various reasons and all that. If you don't already know the answer, you're probably not going to get it anyway unless you happen to guess it right. In a 1-to-1 gear ratio, the drive gear rotates A, slower than the gear it drives, B, at the same speed as the gear it drives, C, faster than the gear it drives. Now this is not a 1-to-1 ratio down here. This is just a graphic with some gears on it. You got to be answering them swift now. If you know this stuff, you can just put it down as soon as you hear it. Why can fluid under pressure transfer movement? A, it maintains a constant viscosity over a wide temperature range. B, it cannot be compressed. C, it resists chemical breakdown under extreme conditions. Or D, it is primarily a mineral oil. Basically, this is talking about automatic transmission fluid. That's why these answers are as funky as they are. What's the role of hydraulic valves in a valve body? A, they apply and release fluid coupling. B, they modify engine torque and speed. C, they direct fluid flow or control pressure. Or D, they hold a planetary gearset elements. Are you going to take the transmission ASE test this time around?
Oh, no.
Yeah, G1? You guys going to do G1? I don't know yet.
I don't know yet. I'll take your recommendation after lunch.
What's the output from a 1-to-4 gear ratio called? Is it a reduction, which means it'll give you more power and less speed, direct drive, overdrive, or reverse? Ding, 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 ding. Somebody gonna need a lifeline here?
You need both.
Clutches and bands are applied and released by the A, planetary gear set, B, apply devices, C, driving devices, or D, valves in the transmission valve body.
Well, I don't know this stuff.
Hey, boy.
This is kind of the, gives you an idea. Now, if you dig into your electude and you start plowing through those modules, you'll learn this stuff and you'll know it inside out. I ain't kidding you.
You will.
Yep. I mean, that's part of the reason that's there. You know what I mean? Because I can't be the fountain of all knowledge, even though I can come close. No, not really. I'm just kidding. There's a lot that I don't know, okay? All right, what do driving devices do? A, transfer power from one component to another. B, hold gear elements to the case. C, prevent gear elements from turning. What is a symptom of worn friction discs in a holding clutch? A, slipping in the controlled gear. B, grinding or gear noise under load. C, stuck holding clutch. Or D, harsh engagement. Harsh engagement means when you put it in gear, it goes boom, hits real hard. What happens inside the torque converter at higher speeds when lockup is not engaged? A, the turbine spins slower than the impeller. B, the turbine and impeller spin at similar speeds. C, the turbine spins faster than the impeller. The torque converter is best described as A, an advanced valve that regulates and directs fluid flow. B, a mechanism for holding and driving the planetary gear sets. Or C, a fluid coupling that transmits power flow from the engine. How would you describe the torque and speed produced by a 1:4 gear ratio? 1:4, by the way, would be 1 turn here and 4 turns there, right? High speed, low torque, high speed, high torque, low speed, low torque, low speed, high torque. Take you a second to chew on that one. A hydraulic piston is used to operate what? Servo, holding clutches, driving clutches, or all of the above? Now, I will say that there are some clutches in the transmission that are like one-way clutches, and they're actually locked by the direction it's trying to turn. What do holding devices do? Do they transfer power, cause components to turn, or prevent gear elements from turning? The transmission fluid pump outlet port leads where? Does it lead to the torque converter, the wall pin, the valve body, or the sump?
When fluid's going back into the pan, it's by gravity, right?
Well, it's actually coming back from the
When it goes back into
cooler.
the
It's
pan.
coming back from the cooler.
Yeah, but it's
I mean-
gravity fed,
No, it's actually under pressure.
it's under pressure.
It's coming under pressure.
I'm thinking about oil pan then.
Yeah, the engine oil pan,
Engine
but
oil
not the
pan with
transmission
gravity.
oil pan. It's a two different things there.
All right.
I mean, there'll be a little bit of gravity letting it come back from some places, but the fluid that, comes back into the pan. A transaxle is different from a transmission because A, a transmission doesn't require a torque converter. B, is controlled electronically. C, contains a differential. Or D, drives the fluid pump with input power. You already marked yours? Everybody ready? Do we have some deer in the headlights going on over here? What kind of transmission fluid pump uses a hub with retractable vanes that slide along the inside of a movable bore ring? Gerotor, crescent, or variable displacement vane pump?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Right.
It's all the meaning. Step on Robbie's toe.
Anybody that gets that one wrong should be slapped and have a hat that says Ruination. put
No,
on
no,
it.
let me see, let me read it again.
Yeah, that might be me.
I got a 50% chance of getting it right, because I know which one it's not.
Which of these is a pressure control valve? Check valves, which would let pressure go just one way but not the other. Spool valves, spring-loaded spool valves, or on-off valves. In a 1-to-4 gear ratio, the drive gear rotates what? Slower than the gear it drives, at the same speed as the gear it drives, faster than the gear it drives. 1-to-4, 1 turn of this gear to 4 turns of that gear. This is the driver, this is the driven. And you've always got a drive gear and a driven gear. A gear that's driving one gear driving the other one. What does the planetary gear set do? Hold and drive the clutches and bands, produce various output ranges of torque and speed, provide fluid reservoir and hydraulic passages. Which of these is a symptom of a faulty transmission fluid pump? Excessive torque converter slippage, harsh shift feel, no engagement in any gear, or low fluid level? What happens when fluid passes through an enlarged opening? Does the pressure increase, does it remain constant, or does it decrease? Here's the flow, this is where you would measure. See, this is the enlarged opening. How do transmissions and transaxles produce the range of torque needed for normal driving? They provide different gear combinations, they vary the fluid pressure, they shift automatically between gears. And the last question on the list, what does an accumulator do in an automatic transmission? 1, it retains fluid. 2, it softens the application of a clutch. 3, it applies pressure. All right. Everybody got their answers all done?
So, I'm gonna need you to go back
Which one?
to a couple of them. Hold on, let me.
Give me the numbers. What's the numbers?
23 and 24. Huh?
There you go, 23. And there's 24. Boy, Nicholas is engaged today, isn't he?
Alright.
All right, you got it? Now we're going back. All right, swap papers with somebody. I'm gonna come and give you these answers here, and if you disagree with any of the answers I'm giving you, and you can make a good case for your answer that I agree with, you know what I'm saying? There you go.
Hey, yeah, I probably got it.
All right, somebody give me the answer to this one. What do the hydraulic clutches and bands do? Somebody that knows?
B.
Should be A.
Oh.
So what do we do?
Huh?
What are we supposed to do?
You're supposed to grade the guy's paper. Mark it wrong if he got it wrong. Whose paper you got?
I got that.
That's goes. That'll be fun then. Okay. All right, you get to mark a lot of them on his, no, I'm kidding.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah,
All right. He did fix the Lexus so that you could gas it up normally, didn't he? I gotta call her and give her a opinion. Okay. The transmission fluid pump is usually driven by the what?
So,
Huh?
input shaft.
Torque converter hub or pump output shaft. See that? The torque converter hub goes right here.
Yeah.
I give you every chance.
But it's actually gonna be the torque converter, that should be D. If that's not D, if you put something other than D on that, slap yourself. Okay.
I might need to be slapped.
All right. What happens to the pressure?
I need to be slapped. I knew it, I put it wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure. What happens to the pressure when fluid passes through a reduced opening? Somebody give me an answer. Come on.
Increases.
Decreases.
Should be A.
Did I get that right?
You didn't, you should have, that's all I
I
got.
probably ain't got none of them right.
You got one.
Oh,
In a 1-to-1 gear ratio, the drive gear rotates slower, faster, which one?
B.
same.
Same speed. We talked about that in manual transmission the other day. Why can fluid under pressure transfer movement?
It's constantly over a wide temperature range.
It cannot be compressed.
What I put?
Welcome to the wonderful world of Pascal's law.
You picked the most complicated instruments.
Man, I just.
What is the role of hydraulic valves in a valve body? What do you think? Somebody tell me an answer.
C.
Huh? They direct fluid flow or control pressure.
So you know it now, we should put D.
Yeah, I got it right, I got it right.
Yep.
Nah, you know
Did I
why?
get it right?
I don't know.
I just did that off your picture.
What is the output for a 1-to-4 gear ratio called?
C.
B.
You got one of these,
Be direct drive.
What term was that one?
one turn here. That is not even accurate, is it? I confused you with a picture, didn't I? One turn over here and 4 turns over there,
It's the other
seriously?
way around.
But it'd be a direct drive.
Yeah, the gears are backwards, aren't they? Because then you're supposed to read the words, not just look at the picture, right?
You cheated.
That's it, you got jerked around.
Boy, finesse.
1-to-4 is overdrive.
It's overdrive.
Who's the answer?
The clutches and bands, it would be C, overdrive. The clutches and bands are applied and released by what? Planetary gearset, applied devices, driving devices, valves in the transmission valve body. That's the right answer right there.
Oh, just put.
The valves in the valve body deliver fluid, and they're what causes that the clutches to engage. That's gonna be D. D is in delta, okay? What if this was your final exam, guys, okay?
Well, we wouldn't have made it.
What do driving devices do?
They transfer power from one point to another.
They transfer power from one component to another.
I know I got that wrong.
What is a symptom of worn friction discs in a holding clutch?
Switching in a control gear.
Slipping into controlled gear. Won't be this, won't be that, won't be that. And the holding clutches, by the way, are basically, a lot of the times they'll look like regular clutches, but they're bigger and will be on the outside of the drum, and the plates will be hooked into the case, and the inside of the teeth will be on the drum, you know. What happens inside the torque converter at higher speeds when lockup is not engaged?
Okay.
The turbine and impeller spin at similar speeds. It gets to a certain point where they're all just kind of spinning together, okay? The torque converter is best described as what?
A. 11? Yeah.
What, 11 was A? Did I get that wrong? Wait a minute. No,
No,
that's
B.
B,
B.
not A. All right.
C.
Is a torque converter, what is a torque converter?
A torque converter.
Fluid coupling. If a torque converter wasn't one of your answers, you got it wrong by default. If you just said a torque converter. How would you describe the torque and speed produced by a 1-to-4 gear ratio? Imagine yourself having to take this test before they would hire you for a $40 an hour job, you know?
You know?
How to get your motivated.
Low speed, low torque.
How would you describe the torque and speed produced by a 1-to-4 gear ratio?
Low speed, low torque.
Yeah.
Low speed, high torque.
Oh,
Yeah, low speed, high torque. How do you do
I
follow
got
that?
that wrong, put it down wrong, high torque, looking at it.
A hydraulic piston is used to operate what?
I think it's been the same.
These are hydraulic pistons,
All
that's a
the
hydraulic
above.
piston. Huh? All of the above. Servo, holding clutches, driving clutches. Actually, that's a little bit of a misnomer because a servo is a piston. And it actually operates, you know, a band or whatever. So, what do holding devices do?
B. Did you
There's
just say that one was D?
C.
No, the one before that.
Yeah, olive oil.
All the above, that's right. All right. The transmission fluid pump outlet leads where?
Valve bottom.
Look here. Look very
It's a torque
carefully at this.
converter.
Straight to the torque converter. See that? There's your pump. Look where it's going. Now it also goes to lubrication. The preponderance of it goes to the torque converter. And this goes to the cooler. This comes from the cooler to the oil reservoir. See that? I put that diagram there for a reason. This is a torque flat transmission, but it works, you know.
You know, on an oil pan, it's gravity fed.
That's right. Well, unless it's got an oil cooler.
Oh, yeah.
A transaxle, some of it's gravity fed even then though. But a transaxle is different from a transmission. Why?
Doesn't that extend the differential?
It's got a differential, that's right. The differential is what lets the tires roll different speeds when you're going around a
Yeah, I
curve.
got that.
You got
one.
one. Just put one.
What kind of transmission fluid pump uses a hub with retractable vanes that slide along the inside of movable boarding?
Crescent.
If you didn't see the word vanes and put vane, then all is vain.
I was blaming, yeah, wrong.
See that? Veins, vein. You couldn't see that? This is veins, that's a vein. And these are veins right here. And there's a ring in there. Of course, you got that ring on the inside too, but you got a ring on the outside. Now that movable ring, what they're talking about is there's a spring over there and that ring can move and it can make the pump variable displacement. And you'll find that on the 4T60Es and some other transaxles. Which of these is a pressure control valve? Check valve, spool valve, spring-loaded spool valve, or on-off valves.
Check valves.
Spring-loaded spool valve. It actually, the pressure actually, see the pump doesn't produce pressure, it just moves fluid, and the pressure is created because the relief valve it's got a spring that's holding it back, and it pushes it until it opens an orifice, and it's got to put a certain amount of pressure before it opens it. And it's like an oil pump on a car, it's got a pressure relief valve. In a 1 to 4 gear ratio, the drive gear rotates what? Slower than the gear it drives, same speed, or faster?
Slower than the gear it drives.
What? All right. What does the planetary gear set do? Well, you know it ain't this one,
It produces various output.
and you know it doesn't ain't that one. It produces, it's gotta be B. Produces various output ranges of torque and speed. Eliminate the ones you know it's not, right? Which of these is a symptom of a faulty transmission fluid pump?
Low fluid. No engagement in.
Very good answer, very good answer. No engagement in any gear. If you got a bad pump, you're not gonna have any, you know, you're gonna have, if you got one that's not pulling, the first thing you're gonna think of is we've got no fluid pressure usually. And you can have a, you know, in remote cases, you can have torque converter issues causing that, but for the most part, you're just about gonna always have a fluid problem. Now, the pump can actually have, if the pressure valve is stuck so that it doesn't produce any pressure, lose anything. What happens when fluid passes through an enlarged opening?
Pressure
Decreases.
Decreases. This pressure would be lower than what's, you know, coming up the pike. Less pressure here than what we got there. How do transmissions and transaxles produce the range of torque needed for normal driving?
The different gear combinations.
Different gear combinations. Good answer, Zach. What does an accumulator do in an automatic transmission?
Applies pressure.
Anybody else got a different answer?
Or
Hey.
retains fluid.
Huh?
A retains fluid.
Softens the application of a clutch. That's what it does in an automatic transmission. Now, in a brake system, the accumulator actually holds pressure, and so that it can, you know, give you an additional brake. I mean, and there's other things accumulators do. What does it do in the, what does it do in an air conditioner? You got an accumulator in there too, but it does a different thing in an air conditioner. It doesn't soften the application of a clutch.
Accumulates moisture.
Does that, but it also adds oil to the refrigerant so the compressor can be lubricated. Anyway, so, what do you think? So, everybody, does this give you, is this a wake-up call?
Yes. The ones I got backwards with the clutches, instead of saying that they're whole,
Mm-hmm.